What's up, guys? What's up, fellas and ladies? What's going on? This is our first collectible episode. So, first off, I gotta say thank you, guys. Thank you, all you guys for listening. We're hitting record numbers, and I hope that carries on to this weekly episode. So, as I was preparing, I kind of asked myself, what would be valuable, Cage, for the audience?
Yep.
With a breakdown of the app, defining what an IPO and a secondary market is and such, retained or equity, market cap, how does Collectible price their assets? Then I started doing a little bit of research, and I found that there's introductory videos on YouTube for that stuff.
Yep.
Okay. One is by this guy named Fintech, Fintek. So I watched those videos, and they do a great kind of breakdown about what Collectible is, the app, and all that FAQ stuff. And the Personal Finance Dad also did one. So instead, I wanted to offer a program that would be valuable to Collectible users and people just curious about kind of keeping a pulse on the market, Cage. Mm-hmm. So we're going to focus on giving our opinion. This segment is going to focus on giving our opinion on overvalued and undervalued cards and memorabilia, mm-hmm. as well as talking about things that move the market in either direction. Okay?
Yep.
And that brings me to my next point, Cage. When it comes to markets and investing, it's important to look for catalysts, right?
True.
Winning an MVP, championships, getting inducted to the Hall of Fame. Those are all like perceived catalysts.
Yep.
Also comps, right? Comps of same or similar assets. That's another obvious one.
Yep.
So Cage, I'm gonna bring up three, mm-hmm. and you'll choose one that interests you the most, and we'll kick it off from here.
You talk about from you picking three specific items, assets. So let's pump the brakes just 2 seconds on it, right? Because you're my intro guy. But since it's our first one of doing these, right? It's our first time doing this. Let's make sure. What are we calling these? What are we calling these episodes? You have a name. It's catchy. What are you calling it?
Collectible Cage?
No, well, that's awesome. I am a collectible Cage. This is true. I'm a collectible Cage.
What do you mean? I don't understand. Lawyers don't ask questions that they don't know the answer to.
Well, I mean, are we calling it, the Fractional Report? Are we calling it, something like that? You got a name for it? Because, we do want to come on here and make sure, we're going to be talking about, items that are on Collectible. But you guys know us pretty well by now. 400 plus episodes, a year plus doing this. This is not a shill episode. We are not going to be coming on here weekly and telling you about how great Collectible is and telling you about how there's money to be made and everything is great and everything is the best in the whole wide world. That's not. It goes against what we've tried to do here in bringing you value, right? We're really going to try to bring you value. What Andrew just said is true. If we find something that is overvalued, I happen to have one. I'll tell you about it. We're going to tell you about those things.
100%.
But we do want to take 30 seconds in the beginning to make sure you know the mission of these episodes as presented to us by our partner Collectible. It is their idea, and it's education. So don't gloss over those fintech video that that Andrew mentioned, those 101 videos. But really, before we jump into the specifics, Andrew gave you a pretty good lesson there, about catalysts, winning MVPs, you name it. But before we go into that, the goal here is to get our folks educated on a new potential investment or asset class. And I want to make sure that we take 30 seconds, a minute, just to kind of go through that because, I've kind of jumped into NFTs recently, right? Everybody knows this. You hear me talking about them every now and again. And I'll say to my friends, come on, buy an NFT. And they're like, okay, well, where do I put my credit card? Right? You're like, okay, wait a second. Let's pump the brakes. Let's explain how we, open up a wallet, what MetaMask is, how to get Ethereum into the MetaMask, how you link your MetaMask wallet to what minting is, like all these things, right? So for Collectible, let's talk about downloading the app, making sure you have that Collectible app on there, and then the difference between what an IPO is and what the secondary market is. So it's important information, right? Because what we want to focus on in these episodes is we want to focus on the secondary market, right? And it's something akin to the stock market, right? At least that's what Collectible is moving towards. We had Ezra on in our 10 for 10, and they're hoping to move very shortly into a full Wall Street hour, 9 o'clock to 4 o'clock, full trading window, 9:30 to 4 o'clock, like Wall Street hours. Right now, it's 12 to 4. All right, so you'll be listening to this hopefully Sunday night, Monday morning. The market will be opening 12 p.m. Eastern time, secondary market to trade on these assets, right? So quick, an IPO, initial public offering, the same as any stock that goes public. there are assets, whether it would be a sports card or memorabilia, that's taken public. After it's taken public and there is a cooling off period, it goes to a secondary market. And that's the same thing as trading a stock, trading a share of Apple, trading a share of AMD, trading a share of whatever your company you like. There's a market cap of these assets, and there is a share price. And you can trade that the same way you would trade any stock, right? So that's what we're going to be focusing on. We're going to be talking about these assets, these collectibles that are currently available to you for trading in the secondary market when it opens Monday at 12 o'clock. So that's kind of like just a little background of where we're going. Andrew's got assets. He's chomping at the bit. He's got these bargains. He's got these things. But before I unleash
you're right to give that introductory course. I shouldn't gloss over it because I do think that we deal with a sophisticated audience. I think we have some really intelligent people in our audience, and they're chomping at the bit to contribute to this episode. They're telling, they're saying, look at this asset, look at this one. I've been trading this one. So I am chomping at the bit. One thing, Cage, now, so the trading window on the secondary market, right now it's 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern. It's going to get to 12 to 4 p.m. starting in the next few weeks. They said by September, that's the plan. But remember, they started from doing the trading window twice a week. Now it's every single day, and they're extending
Power
that
hour, right?
Yep.
Power hour, yep. And then they're extending that after that. Okay. Well, it's important. I don't want you trying to get on 12 and can't do it. So, so I mean, then the last part, just education-wise, of course, obviously, if you have questions, please reach out to us. Please reach out. We'll do what we can to kind of answer your questions on these items as well. But beyond that, you want to jump into your 3, or do you want to continue on the
Sure.
on the education, the secondary side, and the whole deal? Guys, before Andrew does his 3, we started talking about this with the Zion. Remember we had Ezra on, and I gave if you haven't listened to that episode, I gave hey, if you have a couple $100, you can buy a Zion. Let's say you want to invest in Zion, right? And you have $250 or $350. You can buy a base Zion and have one of 20,000 PSA 10 base Zions, or you could take that money and try to find the best asset that's available, like the National Treasure Zion that happens to be available on the Collectible app in the secondary market, and buy $350 worth of shares in that asset. And, why we're doing this now, it's so funny how it comes together. We talked to Lior we talked to several people, and a lot of the repetitive trend was, look at these awesome assets that are out there, things we didn't even know about. Look at these, best-in-class assets, right? So you can invest in Zion on a base level. You could also invest in Zion on a National Treasures level, but most of us can't own the whole National Treasure. So this is allowing us to kind of capture the liquidity of the trading of those high-end cards while still investing what it would cost for you to invest in a base Zion. So that's
really capture most of the alpha too, right?
Yep.
So that was the big thing, like that they kept saying was a few people, really intelligent people, that the best card of Zion will actually appreciate more than some of the lower tier. Yep. And this gives you an opportunity to one, test that theory out for yourself, and 2, kind of diversify your portfolio so you're not sitting on high supply, maybe questionable demand assets. You're in the best of the best, and it's kind of back that flight for quality. And again, it's not putting in all your money. We always recommend, first off, never wager what you can't lose, and second, never wager more than you're comfortable with the actual application, right? It's new company, new app, they're growing as well. So I love that you do that. I tend to skip over the learning curve. I think about, our audience and how do I add value to them and what are they curious about, right? Because we're going to have 2 demos. We're going to have people that love Fractional or all in on Collectible, probably 3 demos. Some people that are kind of in the middle. They've thought about Fractional but have never jumped in. And a demo that's not Fractional at all. And I want them to be able to listen to this episode and learn something as well, take something away, maybe contribute to their buying decisions on their own.
Well, I mean, I like that we partner with Collectible, because here you were talking in one of the episodes, hey, you can't take those base cards and color up. You can't do that Zion anymore. You can't take that $500 and do this anymore because PSA is not allowing you to do. What would you do? And, someone we actually work with today, somebody who works, behind the scenes on our video content, messaged me and said, hey, Cage, I got a question for you. In the past, we've heard people talk about how they could take $500 card and one day it'll be $10,000. Like, how do I do that? And I said, look, let's get on the phone, let's chat, and we haven't had that conversation yet. But it'd be very hard for you to pick a $500 card that is going to be worth $10,000 tomorrow, next week, or even probably next year. Could it happen? Sure, with a lot of catalysts, as you like to talk about. But it's interesting. There are different ways of doing that now. You were talking about NFTs. This fractional may be the way to go.
Yep.
I mean, we when we had Ezra on, we talked about that Raphael Devers, which has now gone 300 300%. It's gone 3x if you would have invested in it. Now it got bought out. And we could talk about buyouts a little bit also another time, but let's jump into it, right? Because it is 10 minutes of background, and obviously, guys, we will do some education, some of this for each one of the episodes, just to kind of fill in, maybe do a tutorial in different segments of the secondary market and fractional. But this was kind of an intro, and we want to make sure that these are short and that you get the buy-ins. And one little other tidbit, because I'm curious to see how this happens. In the very beginning of this, when Andrew and I first started doing episodes, we didn't speak, and yet every now and again we had the same play, which is crazy because in all the universe of picks and plays that are out there, it's like, wow, we really both picking Tyler Hero? That never happened, but you understand what I'm saying. So I'm curious to see which ones he found. We have not spoken about this, so we may wind up having some of the same plays. I have two that I think are great plays, and one that I think is potentially one I would tell people to stay away from now in the secondary market.
So just on that 500 to 10,000, what investment is there? I would actually look at it as a few investments, right? I would look at it as a doubles game, right? How do I go from 500 to 1,000, 1,000 to 2,000, 2,000 to 4,000, 4,000 to 8,000, 8,000, 16, right? What's that? 5-6 moves away. And the doubles might seem like it's difficult, but in inefficient markets like cards and memorabilia you're about to see, what we're really trying to figure out is what's something truly priced at, where's the market trending up or down, and where's there an inefficiency. So where I wanted to start with was these three. So we have wax, we have a card, and we have a memorabilia. So first one is a game used Jackie Robinson jersey. So just last week, it sold for $4.2 million, right? So as a scientist, that begs the question, what will that do to the memorabilia market, right? That's a new high. The Wagner SGC3 on Robert Edwards auction, okay? That's already over $6 million with a buyer's premium. Probably that's the most expensive card ever, right?
Yeah, if it doesn't get another bid, it will break the record for the most expensive card ever.
What's that do? What's that do to vintage cards, right? And Probstein just sold 2 Fleer boxes, Fleer like the wax 86, for $550.
$550,000.
Right now, one on Collectible is trading for $184,000.
Yep.
So those three were 3 catalysts that could move wax, cards, memorabilia. And like I said in the beginning, I wanted to bring them up and choose one that interests you and rock out.
So I love the 86 Fleer box. I think it's an amazing thing. It is right back to where it was at its IPO of $25 per share, the 86 Fleer wax box. And I think that is one where they're going to have some heavy action in that because of those sales. So one of the things we're going to be looking for, and Andrew, very good to bring it to you, one of the things we're looking for, he talked about catalysts, right? There are auctions that are ending, things that are ending, news that ended, right? So the Jackie Robinson, the Honus Wagner, that 86 Fleer is a 1-to-1 comparison. Now, in the past, last couple of weeks, there have been opportunities when a Michael Jordan card was on Collectible and one sold at auction from way more than it had sold for the previous weeks. The next day, if you were early enough and got in the secondary trading at what the price was, you were able to capitalize right in that day, right in that 1 hour window, and be able to buy it cheap and be able to now be in that asset where it should be valued at. Same thing with Mickey Mantle, the Mickey Mantle PSA 8, right? Those were selling for $800,000, $900,000, and then all of a sudden one sold for $2 million. The one on Collectible in the secondary market was underpriced. And those are the kind of things we're looking for. That 86 Fleer wax box is a perfect example of one that, based on a recent catalyst, that sale of 2 boxes, that price is now too low. The market value that is currently in there at Collectible, it will correct on Monday. So if you're able to get in and buy that, you're going to see that one correct. Not financial advice here, but one of the things you're going to hear us say over and over in this show is it's kind of like leading indicators and lagging indicators. This one, it really is a lot of fun, right? Because as the market was going up, when Fractional came out, things that came out in February, they were high. They were right after that golden auction with the records. If anything dropped in IPO, and some of mine did, so we'll talk about that. The IPOs were high. The prices right after the IPOs were high, right? And they came down. But after it came down, then we had that Mickey Mantle selling for over $1 million with PSA 8. Then it dropped down to $800,000. And Fractional followed that, right? Is at 800. But it takes that catalyst, that sale for $2 million, to now drag the fractional secondary market back up. And it's not automatic, right? It's not liquid. And this is where we want you guys to play, right? We want you to understand that there is that opportunity. Go ahead.
And the illiquidity is going to be different for different assets too. Like a highly publicized sale will move collectible way faster than a hockey card, right? Because just of the publicity and the eyeballs around it.
Yep.
So it's also important to remember, like with these Fleer boxes, I don't think that the price is going to move as quickly as collectibles price moved when the Jordan sale happened or the Mantle sale happened.
Yep. No, I mean, listen, I think you're 100% right. So, I mean, so you had the 86 wax Fleer or the other two?
So we could go memorabilia, Jackie Robinson game used jersey. So, I mean, that's wax is a 1-to-1 comparison. Memorabilia, they're all one of ones.
Yep.
But what we're seeing is game used. I mean, game used has been creeping up for a long time now. But just like logically think about it, right? We all love one-of-one cards. We all love one-of-one things. To me, game used memorabilia across the board of iconic people is just going to keep moving up and up and up. To me, I don't know if it's the safest investment because it's kind of illiquid as an investment, right? With wax, there's always new comps. With cars, there's always new comps. But I do believe the demand that I'm seeing for game used memorabilia is like nothing I've seen in a long time. And Rips honestly called that. I think it's one of those slow moving because there is a ton of there's a ton of width. There's a ton of game used, but there's only one of each game used. So that's really my only take, to be on the lookout for game used stuff. This week, Durant game used high school jersey is IPOing for I believe $220,000.
Yep.
I don't know if that's a great investment because Durant is from the modern era, right?
Yep.
And he's going to have a ton more game used stuff. Whereas guys like Kobe, he's going to have a lot of stuff, but he has a special kind of iconic Jordan game used and kind of from the 80s, 70s, and 60s. Game used memorabilia is very interesting.
I like it. All right, so let me give everyone on here a specific one that I am looking for, and then to tell you guys why. Right.
Sure.
So before the Honus Wagner sells tonight, right? The most recent news-breaking sale, not record-breaking sale, although it is the largest sale for the category, right? Go ahead for the sport.
So as people are listening to this, the sale has already probably finished, so they could go on Robert Edward Auctions and see what it actually closes at.
Yep. So before that, as you were at the National, I had not gotten there yet. Do you remember the buzz in the room when it was announced that the 1-of-1 Patrick Mahomes had just sold for $4 million and change, right? Or
I love that you're referencing National because for my play, I'm referencing National too.
See, so $4.3 million, right? So I've started to look what sports coming up, what catalysts are there. We've had a record price of Patrick Mahomes, his National Treasure 1-of-1, right? Which is now, in the stratosphere, the most expensive football card, over $4 million sold, right? You got football coming. You got the Vegas odds maker saying Patrick Mahomes is the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl again. At least make it there against Tom Brady. Who knows if that's going to happen again? But that's what the odds makers are saying out there, right? Mahomes looking to add to his legacy, as a young goat, already Super Bowl, already MVP, you name it, the whole deal. So what I looked at was, and I'm going to try to do a real deep dive for you on this one, was the 2017 Mahomes Immaculate 1-of-1 with the Nike patch on it. All right. So now that particular card IPO'd at $10 per share. It's currently down 15% from its IPO, which means if you wanted to buy in shares now, the close on Friday was $8.50. Meaning that if you're
what was the market cap on it? Was
so
it
the
100K?
market cap when it initially came out was $219,000.
Gotcha.
It is now down $32,000 with a market cap of $186,150. So $186,150 is the market cap. So
the 1-of-1 with the Nike is 190. The one that just closed was 4.3 million.
Okay, so wait, so that's a National Treasure, very different card, right? This is an Immaculate, right? But I'm going to give some comps because that's important. But just to back up, it's Mahomes. Football starting. right? He's going to start off the season 4-0, and everybody's going to be looking for Mahomes, Super Bowl, you name it again, right? It's going to be crazy. Mahomes stuff's going to start to get even hotter than it is right now. You're able to get in at Friday's close, 15% below where people originally bought this at the IPO at 10. That's already a smart play, because now you're getting in at a discount to what the first people who bought it. So that's number one. Number two, you want comps. The National Treasure's $4.3 million. That's its own card, but there is another, the Immaculate Logo Man version that's on eBay right now, and obviously it's somebody can ask whatever they want. You can put $20 million on it, right? But the 101 Immaculate logo is with an ask of $3.75 million, right? So this is a different 101. Let's call it the little brother, right? The sibling of that. It's got
this is a big family of Mahomes
swoosh,
101,
right? So there's plenty of Mahomes 101s out there, and we'll get to them in a second. But that one's asking $3.75. This one has a current market cap of $186,000. Compare and contrast, right? The 1-of-1 Flawless, which was in a BGS case, 7.5 BGS, sold in April for $312,000, right? Almost double the current market cap of this card. Now, does this have to catch that one? Does it have to be 300,000? No. But if it gets to 2/3 of that and goes up a little bit, you're making 15, 20, 25, 30% buying in now, right? You're making almost, at 8.5, you're making almost 20% just if it gets back to its IPO price, which is $219. It doesn't have to get to the $312 that the 101 Flawless sold for. A National Treasures RPA out of 5 sold for $300,000. I'm trying to give comps that are closer to this than those $1 million cards, right? But even those comps, the National Treasure out of 5, the 101 Flawless, which was in a BGS 7.5 case, those are all $300,000 and above recent sales. This is now under $200,000, which I think is a discount, especially when you contrast it to the newsworthy ones, which are that there was a $4.3 million sale, and the National Treasures RPAs, the out of 99, recent sales on those, they're inching towards $100,000 just for the RPAs out of 99, not a 101. The RPAs out of 99. This is something also Lior talked about. Like, hey, it's weird. Why the 99 sell? Let me get all the low numbered ones. You want scarcity, right? So if an RPA at a 99 is $90,000, right? This one, there's not 99 of them. There's one, right?
This seems. Can you check the retained equity? This seems prime for a buyout, right?
Oh, possibly, yeah.
Because think about it, right? Like if I'm a big buyer and I'm looking to get into the Mahomes market, the ship has sailed on some cards. But here I'm going to Collectible and I'm seeing a 1-of-1 available for $190,000. I could come in and buy that whole thing, as opposed to buying an RPA, which is creeping up to
so pull up that for me. I'm going to go through one last thing on this. Pull up the Mahomes. I mean, I can do it too, but you'll lose me on camera.
You want me to screenshot?
If you want, to put it up, share the screen. That's fine. This is the it's Mahomes Immaculate 1-of-1. This is the number sign from 2017.
I'll do my best. I wasn't prepared with my computer to screen share it on Collectible, but I think I could do it.
I'm pretty sure it's the whole thing, because there were 2990 outstanding shares, which puts it at a full 290. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's the whole, but you can check. It does on the app, guys. This is a very good thing here, because I did look at this on my next play. It will say if there's retained ownership right there in the bottom of it, right? It'll say the owner has retained 61% of this. It'll say right there. So while Andrew's scrolling down and looking to see if that's on there, I didn't see it when I was there. Look at the chart. See how it's gone down? Mm-hmm. I think is a bargain, and I'm going to contrast it, right?
It's a beautiful card too.
So people look at the National Treasures first, which is why. So read that for me and make sure there's no retained value. But
there's no retained earnings.
I don't think there is. I looked at it. People look at National Treasures first, right? And the National Treasures one is obviously that's the one that sold for the millions of dollars. That's the one I talked about out of 5 selling for $300,000. The one out of 99 that is selling for 80, 90, approaching $100,000. The Immaculates and the Flawless, they kind of go after National Treasures. That's kind of the way that the market looks at these things now. National Treasures is the one that people are chasing, right? So here's what's fun about that. You could view this Immaculate one as lagging the National Treasures. So if you look at the Mahomes market, since IPO, this particular card is down. So you know what I did? So that I could go a little deeper for you guys and give you guys as much research as possible on this. On Collectible, there is also a National Treasures 8.5.
All right, I'm going
to go do it. It's also available. And that card, if you look at the chart on that one, in July, the shares were $6. They've moved up to $8 this past Friday's close. So the National Treasure is already starting to move up because I believe that's the first brand that people will look for when investing in a player. So I believe that what we've seen here is people are already starting to look at Mahomes. See how it started to move back up a little bit? Yep. Exactly. So that has not happened yet. You should contrast that with the chart of the one that I'm giving as my play, right? You haven't seen that bounce back up. So I think given football season starting up, given Mahomes as a likely favorite to go far in the playoffs, if not win another Super Bowl, you name it, the whole 9 yards. Given all the recent sales, given the fact that this has been beat up recently, and when you balance it out against, there are other Mahomes on Collectible that are starting to see that bounce. The National Treasure, the first one people look at. I believe that this one here is going to follow that trend, and you're going to be able to get in at Friday's close at $8.50. This should be back above the IPO price sooner than later, and that's a quick and easy 20%. Again, not financial advice, just my own personal opinion on this one. But I think there's an opportunity in this particular card at $8.50 a share.
Only question, real quickly: authentic and not graded. Issue?
It's a 1-on-1. I mean, it's a 1-on-1. The fact that that the 1-on-1 flawless was in a BGS 7.5, does that matter? I mean, like, would you rather have that than an authentic? I mean, it doesn't really make a difference. It's a 1-on-1. Sure, if it was a 10, that would be nice. It would be cool because it's a 10. But with 1-on-1s, I mean, we've talked about whether or not you even grade them. I like that it's in an authentic case because at least it's slabbed, it's protected, you know it's authentic, and nothing can happen to it. So to me, it's not a downgrade that it's in an authentic case. I might actually pick an authentic over a 7 or 7.5.
It looks better. It looks better for sure. So, okay, Mahomes. I'll tell you from my perspective, because we like to do this. Mahomes worries me. His market just across the board feels so steamed for his. I mean, he's had success. I'm talking just performance. He's had success, MVP, Super Bowl. But let me throw you a fun scenario.
Yep.
Lamar Jackson wins a Super Bowl. Do we start calling him the GOAT or the greatest of all time with the same accolades as Mahomes?
No.
Is there a bit of recency bias?
But Mahomes, but Jackson's cards have been beaten up, and if that happens, you'll see Jackson's cards go up as Mahomes' cards may come down a little bit.
My point in the NFL, it's always the shiny new quarterback.
So
right?
Not with Mahomes, right? Mahomes is one of those guys that has a chance to be. It's kind of like Luka, right? So we'll talk about it.
He has the chance. Yes.
It's Tom Brady and LeBron. I mean, the only thing is that Luka hasn't won anything individually or team, and Mahomes has already won MVP and Super Bowl early on, and has the ability to really be like that next Brady. But I'm glad you brought this up, and here's why, right? We don't want people to just run headfirst into the wall on these things, right? You have to be smart. You have to look at what's out there and do your own analysis on whether or not Mahomes is where you want to put your money. I'm not bringing you a Justin Herbert play, guys. Okay, that's not where we're going to be. But Andrew's point is well taken, and here is the final exclamation point on this play. Have multiple exit points, right? Bro Namath, we've had on our show a bunch of times, right? It's where do you want to be on this? Have an exit strategy, right? Do you want to make 20%? Then you can hang on to this, and I would bet you that before he even sets foot on the field, this thing's going to start to move up the way that the other cards have moved up as there's anticipation for the season. Maybe week 1 he goes out there and throws 5 touchdown passes and has a Mahomes type day. That following Monday is your exit on this one, right? Maybe it's week 4. Maybe take a look at the schedule and see whether he's got, he's going to go 5-2 or he's going to go 4-0, whatever it is your exit. Or maybe hang on for the big stuff. If you really think that Mahomes is going to win another Super Bowl or another MVP, your exit could be, this thing can go from 8.5 to 17 and you're doubling your money. So have those different exit strategies, right? Nothing wrong with taking profit. The fun part about this is every card I just mentioned to you is basically cheaper than is basically more expensive than this. This is less expensive than those in those categories. So I think this one of all has kind of like a room to grow from where it's at, which is why we picked it, right? Like I wouldn't give you a $4.3 million Mahomes because I think that's obviously already reached a pretty high peak, right? But this one here, when you compare it to the other ones, to me, I think it's got the ability to kind of bounce a little.
Let's talk about hockey, like the forgotten stepchild of all of these investing. And it's hockey's right around the corner too, guys, right? NBA's 66 days away. Hockey's right there with it. I'm going to share my screen and show you guys some data that Collectible shared with us, but it's readily accessible right there on the internet. So we have this Ovechkin card, right? Cajun, feel free to chime in here. So this is the BGS 8.5 Ovechkin, the cup from his rookie year. and it's trading at 27,945. It IPO'd at $10, dropped to $5, and now it's at about $6.90. But overall, look at this trend.
Down 31% from the IPO.
Down 30%. Now let's go right here. So we look at a sale, right? We have June 25th, 2021. The BGS 8 sold for $44,988. Cage, outlier sale. How do you make sense of it?
Well, I mean, listen, when you're talking about cars like this where there's only one sold on all of the eBay, you know what I mean? It's difficult, right? Because you never know whether or not it's a good one. I mean, we like to look at Card Ladder, right? If you have a Card Ladder account, go for it. You know, I think it's a great tool. You know, I was at a show today and people were using it. You know, hey, look, let's look at the comps. Let's figure it out. This is easy. Kind of distills all the stuff for you. But yeah, I mean, sometimes with these cards, those one outlier might be all you have. So Card Ladder it's a helpful thing. That particular card, I think, is just an amazing card. Right, and it's one of those where, you know, it's been beaten down a little bit. And I think you're going to see that also, that trend reverse. You know, once the season starts to pick back up, people are talking about, you know, hockey again. But you're right. I mean, listen, sometimes we don't have much to go on as far as, like, you know, the numbers and the sales, especially with rare cards.
It's a card, honestly, if you're a big player out there, you could gobble up a few shares every week up until the start of the season, and maybe you own 30, 40, 45, 50%.
Yeah.
Right.
Capture a big increase, and maybe somebody buys it out. There's been a lot of buyouts, by the way. That's an important thing.
I was going to get to that.
Please.
Well, no, I mean, that's exactly right.
No.
But like, and I'm curious. I'll ask Collectable, and maybe you guys out there know. Like, can you slowly buy shares? Like, let's say I bought, you know, I don't know. Let me look at Ovechkin shares. He has how many outstanding? 4,000 shares outstanding. So if I bought, you know, 500 every week for 20 weeks or something like that, right? Can I come in and eventually buy a buyout and offer a buyout, but I already own 50% of the card? It's a creative way, I wonder, to buy that 8.5 over time.
Yeah. You buy as much of it as you can at market. Yeah. And then, you know, there are probably some people don't want to sell because they still think it's cheap just like you. And then you're going to have to come in and offer something over what it's currently at market. You have to offer a premium for those people in order to buy them out, 100%. Hey, can I give you one that's probably going to knock you off your seat?
Please.
So this guy has not improved his game since he left high school. This guy does not make players around him any better. 2 direct quotes from my co-host. But unfortunately, he's going to have to be a play for me today because in the world of finance, this is what you call oversold. But yeah, please.
Tim Grover episode. I sent it to you, Cage. Do you remember who?
Yes.
Who was interviewing Tim Grover? But it was a Tim Grover episode where he himself talked about how LeBron. He questioned if LeBron made teammates better. And the second thing, just to clarify, because I don't want this to be a LeBron episode, is I just love like how Kobe and Jordan would work with like Hakeem Olajuwon to improve their post moves. And I don't know if I've seen that from LeBron. Sorry, I don't want the DM hate. I don't want the DM hate.
Well, listen, I've told you a bunch of times. I don't care if it's Super Grover, regular Grover, or Tim Grover. I never liked Grover. You know, that dude, he put a cape on, he was flying through walls like right behind me.
LeBron.
So LeBron, right? So I'm not in love with BGS. You know this, right? But there happens to be an awesome LeBron that I believe to be oversold presently. You guys can, you know, evaluate this however you like, but there is a LeBron Black Refractor BGS 9.5, True Gem, all 4 9.5. And what I noticed, we're able to kind of really drill down in the data here, is that this is a bargain that was not a bargain had we done this episode last week, right? So if you can do me a favor, find this one, pull that chart up. For whatever reason, I am betting it's because people are starting to move their money into football. There was a sell-off last week. So take a look and put up like the weekly chart or a monthly chart up on the top there. Look at that sell-off, right? So you have 1 week chart, right? It went from $9 to a close of $7.50, right? Nothing happened to LeBron this week that I know of. You know, he didn't get hurt. You know, the team got a week older, which is scary because they're already old. But beyond that, right, there's nothing really that would indicate a reason for that 15% drop off from that $99 to where it is, right? So it is down about 11.2% from its IPO price. It's currently trading, I think it's $7.99. It was as low as like $7.50. But you see, that is just a oversold this week.
Yep.
And I don't know why, but obviously, like I said, last week, 9 and change. This week, $7.99. That to me is something I want to jump on when this window opens on Monday, because now you have a market cap on this card of $103,870, down, like I said, 11.2% from its IPO. There are only 27 BGS 95s or higher. The last PSA 10 that I know of publicly selling on this sold, yes, it was a higher market at the time, right? In March, we had higher prices. March golden auction, a PSA 10, and again, this is a BGS 95, but let's do some comparison. The PSA 10 sold for $461,000. So $461. The market cap on this one presently, true gem, BGS 95, $103,870, right? $103,870, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 4.5 times is what it sold for, right? In March, right? That obviously the market's come down, and obviously it's not PSA 10, it's BGS 95, right? But that's, I think you're looking at something now that's a significant discount. This particular card at the time when that auction happened, so March, I try to track these things. When that auction at Golden happened and the PSA 10 was selling, this particular share, remember, we're talking about it like a stock. So forget about LeBron, right? We're now buying stock. We're buying shares in this LeBron card. This stock, this LeBron, shares in this LeBron black refractor were up to $14.50 a share, closing on March 26th. They're almost half that. And yes, they had an exit from the playoffs, right? And yes, the market came down a little bit. But what have we been talking about? The market came down, but it's going to start to go back up. Basketball is going to come, right? The Lakers are going to be talked about as one of the juggernauts. They have, an all-star, potential Hall of Famer at every single position on the floor. And, LeBron's going to be making another run at potentially another, another championship. This is a card that was in the 9s last week. This is a card that was $14.50 3-4 months ago. It's now in the 7s. This is what we call oversold. It's for whatever reason, somebody who held this liquidated. Maybe they wanted to get their money ready to buy Mahomes on Monday. I have no idea. But this is exactly the type of play that we want to look for, where there's no fundamental reason why it should have gone down 15% last week, right? I would make an argument it should have gone up 15% last week with all the news and stuff, with all the announcements. I mean, I know they lost Kyle Kuzma. That's problematic.
What's cool here, and we'll wrap it because we want to keep these 30 to 45 minutes. With collectible and fractional, you have the option to make money in 2 ways, right? So asset appreciation or a buyout, right? So just to touch on that, Cage, you've been high on this guy all year. And with guys like LeBron, they're always in the limelight. There's always people going to be investing in the secondary market. There's probably more shares of his traded than any other player. But there's also guys like Rafael Devers. I mean, you must have brought up Rafael Devers on 4 different occasions.
Yep.
Huge year, really good, overlooked, great
really
stat,
young.
Really young. And his card was probably flat for a very long time, trading at 30,000. But some buyer came in and said this card should be 78,000, and he bought it. So you could make money on fractional with asset appreciation. It goes from 28,000 to 35 to 40 to 50, or you have one buyer that comes in and scoops the whole thing up. And there was 2 buyouts last week that were more than double the card value or the card trading value.
That one was over 70,000. That was like triple. That was like a 3. That was like a 3.
And these were readily available. You could have come on. You could have bought shares at whatever it was, and this card was bought out for 78,500.
Look,
same thing with a Brady card.
I watched Big Hero 6 with my son the other day, right? And there's a line in there where it's like, figure it out, look at it from a different angle, right? And they're smart guys. They're gonna figure it out, look at it from a different angle. That's what we're asking you to do with this, guys. Look at your collection. Look at your investing. Look at how you put your money into a player from a different angle. And in case you didn't hear the episode with that, I have to apologize to you guys because I was right on Devers, right? But I did not give you the tools you needed when I gave the Devers play 3 months ago, when I gave the Devers play 2.5 months ago, that there were different ways of investing in Rafael Devers than just going out and spending $500 on a couple of his Topps Chrome cards, right? If you bought his Topps PSA 10 Chrome, you spent $500 on it, that $500 might be worth $600 right now, which is great. Okay, no problem. Everybody's happy. That's 20% in a couple of months. Devers is mashing. But if you took that same $500 and put it in this card here, in a fractional share of that particular card right there, that $500, you'd be close to $2,000 on that investment right now. And so it's not enough for me to tell you guys, go ahead and put your money in Devers. We have to make sure that we're letting you know about the different opportunities there are to maximize your investment in these players and in their best cards. It's a first Bowman Superfractor right there. You know what I mean? There's only one of those.
That's a key point. So that's a key point, guys. I think, and I don't. This is anecdotal, not data driven, but I do believe that there's going to be more buyouts on one of ones of a player's best card than there would be like of a LeBron Black Refractor, because those are so much more readily available in the market than a card like this. This is a one of one. Yep. This is a one of one. So I do
for buyouts definitely, but I think that LeBron, which was at 14.5 in 14.5 a share in March, and is now at $7.99. I think you get back to 10 in a second,
1,000%.
And it goes. You're now making 25% before the season even starts. You know what I mean? I think that's an easy. That's just to take advantage of a market inefficiency and arbitrage play. It's not. I'm expecting someone to go buy that card out 100%. Can I give a quick 30-second one that kind of stood out on me? There is on Collectible, and I don't like to poo-poo anything, but we told you guys if we think they're overvalued. Can you pull up? It's the Hulk Hogan Andre the Giant basket. Right? It's the Hulk Hogan Andre the Giant basket. It's not Andre the Giant's jockstrap, which I think might actually be cheap because you get a lot of jockstrap for the money. You know what I mean? So he's a giant. You know, you get a big jockstrap, right? I just like saying jockstrap. So
it's the whole this one right here.
Yes, the basket, right? So there is some retained value, I believe, on this one, right? So I believe there's some retained interest by an owner. But here's the fun on this one. Here's one where I had some trouble with the with the clarity of the offering. So normally I would say Collectible does a very good job splitting up memorabilia and cards. And this particular one here, which IPO'd at 10 and is now down to $7.01 a share, down $2.99, or basically down 30% from its IPO. It has two iconic cards, BGS 9.5s of the 1982 Wrestling All-Stars of Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant, right? High grade cards. The real wrestling experts, however, really like them in PSA. They don't love these cards in BGS, and that's one little note, to valuation on this, right? The other thing is, so one, you'd rather do PSA instead of doing this. You see that weird chart, right? Nothing dip. It's down 30%. The other thing is, BGS to PSA is a little tough, right? A BGS 9.5, okay, quad, LeBron liquid card.
Yeah.
These cards from 1982 in a BGS holder, we've had David Peck on, right? And he would tell you that there are probably some PSA 8s out there that are nicer than the BGS 9.5 that you're looking at there. And recently a PSA 8 sold for $4,600. Right, and you have a market cap on these now of $42,000, and that's down $18,000 from the initial market cap of $60,000, $61,000. Why it was a little confusing is it's not just those two cards. There's also this interesting memorabilia piece in there that you had. It was like a signed piece about people who were at WrestleMania. If you scroll down, so it's a basket because it's not just those two cards. It also has this. You're reading it now, right? So in addition to those two cards, it has this memorabilia piece, a WrestleMania multi-sign display featuring, assorted mementos and all that. I mean, that just makes it very difficult for valuation purposes, right?
And here it is. The consignor's retaining $61,050 equity in the offering.
Right. So the initial offering was was there's market value. This was 60,000, and they're retaining 61,000, right? So it sounds like the original person's retaining some market share. So I was right. I read this. And in addition to that, now you also have, it's two cards that seem to be real high priced, and they may be only a portion of what this is because maybe the valuation given for this signed memento piece that's in this basket is, I don't know, 20,000, 30,000, 50,000, 10,000. I have no idea. And it's not something that our listeners could easily look up on a card ladder or on eBay sales prices or anything like that. So this one here, it may be a bargain, but I would have no idea. And most of the people who, would create a liquid market also would have no idea, because it's just an interesting piece. And it's not a one-of-one piece that's like a one-of-one card where you can compare it to another. It's quote unquote a memento that's, signed by people. And so I noticed that one and I said, you know what? I can understand why this one has retreated almost 30%, because it's very difficult to value that.
How many buyers are out there for this basket?
I mean, the cards are beautiful, right?
Yeah, but I have one Hulk Hogan, you want Andre the Giant. I'll take or leave the letter of whatever, the autograph. It's like,
exactly.
It makes it cumbersome. I would stay away. All right, guys. Well, this is our first collectible episode. Let us know how we did.
Yeah,
right.
And message us if you're buying in on any of these. Let us know. Let us know what price you got in at. Let us know if you were able to get in at the $7.99 price was the closing price on Friday, right? $8.50 on the Mahomes and $7.99 on the LeBron. Let us know if you were able to get in on the 86 Fleer Wax or any of the memorabilia plays that that Andrew has. Let us know what your thoughts are. And also, look, it's a living, breathing thing. We want to combine these plays with education for you. So what we'd love to hear is not just the people who are able to buy the stuff, but if you have issues, if you're on the site and you find it cumbersome, to log in or to, navigate and find the trading window, or when does it open, or whatever it may be that you might struggle with, let us know. And maybe we can, take that into account for our next episode. Go back to Collectible, get some feedback, some input for them, and give sort of a tutorial on that. And there's probably a tranche of you guys that are just saying, you know what, I don't know if I'm going to do, I don't know if I'm going to do fractional shares, right? And it's not really, our place to try to convince you to do fractional shares. However, we do want to educate you on it. So if there's a reason why you're hesitant to doing it, like I didn't want to do NFTs. I didn't want to do a lot of the stuff that we're doing. I went Top Shot. I don't want to spell blockchain. I don't know what Bitcoin or Ethereum. I have no idea. Now I got mining set up in my basement. I got to keep it cool. The power company's going crazy. I'm mining this stuff. But the point is, you got to start. And I was lucky to have somebody like Andrew to educate me on this stuff. And we are here to help educate you as well. So point us in that right direction. And I'm talking to you guys out there who are listening to saying, I don't know if I would do this. Tell us the 1, 2, or 3 things that make you hesitant to invest in a fractional share, that make you hesitant to go into this, and let us address those for you in our next episode.
I love it. Are you ready for my play?
Sure.
I'll be quick. What was the most in demand type of card at National?
Well, Luca Silver. I mean, we were able to, wheel and deal on those. Let's see, the most in demand type of card. F1.
PMG.
PMG. Oh, hey.
So this is IPOing this week. So this isn't a secondary market. This is an IPO. I don't know how to price PMGs. So when I say a play, it might be worth taking a look at. But at National, people were gobbling up PMGs. And this is a beautiful, relatively high-grade PMG. If you guys look at Tim Duncan's accolades, I'll put him up there with anybody. 5 championships, 2 trophies, 2 MVP
They're putting that
trophies.
In a 219.5 market cap. So when we had Nat on, he mentioned that one of these was at the show for approximately $250,000. Nat Turner mentioned that in our episode, our 10 for 10. And I believe a red of this just sold for like 42-ish in a recent auction. The reds, there's 90 of. There's only 10 of the greens. So 219 would seem pretty fair.
It might be a little high. It might be a little high. It might open and come down, and you could get it on the secondary market.
Yeah,
it might be kind of put that on your watch list.
That is one that if it does come down, you could easily see a buyout, right? Because there are set collectors of those. There are people who buy those cards, and they that could be one where you don't even see them. So, boom, snap it up.
Explain to me what this means, the crystal release. I've never seen it in 30 seconds or less. Is it just
well,
because it's numbered?
Let's see what they say on the back.
I don't. So, there we go. Nice. It's
crystal.
22. It's the same card, no difference, but it's just crystal and 22 out of 50. That's what makes it crystal.
That's right. So it's the trio card numbered out of 50, right?
Okay.
Pretty cool.
Decently cool. In
Is it
other
like the done risk clearly? Is it like the clearly crystal? Have you ever had Crystal Pepsi? You ever tried Crystal Pepsi?
come on.
There was a thing called Crystal Pepsi. You were probably a child. You were a baby when this came out. It was horrible. It was sort of like a Sprite Pepsi. You know, it was like it was clear. It looked like it was a clear colored Pepsi. It was supposed to be cola without the coloring in it.
Isn't Sprite just Coke that's like that?
No, Sprite's like a lemon lime soda.
Okay.
Right? Sprite's got this was supposed to be clear cola.
Like seltzer.
Yes, but with a cola flavor. Can I get a liter cola? What's a liter cola? Can I get a liter cola? Farva, you don't know what I'm talking about here? You don't know what movie that's from? Liter cola? You
Swingers.
mentioned this. No,
Swingers.
you've brought this up. It's Super Troopers. Whatever. Come on, man. You tell me you watched this movie because
I did. I didn't.
Don't make me get.
I don't remember all of the movies.
Very mad at you right
watching
now.
it once.
I'm getting mad at you right now.
That one's memorable. What movie should I watch tonight?
Ooh, I don't know. Have you seen Field of Dreams? No, you haven't. So no. I bring that up because after the Field of Dreams game this week, I've mentioned it to a bunch of people, and so many people have said to me, "I've never seen this movie," and I'm like, "What is wrong?"
I know the movie. Kevin Costner, right?
Yes, Kevin Costner is in the movie. Yes, and is not the one where the world is covered in water, and he's got gills and he swims around looking for Earth with pirates and stuff. That's Waterworld. Different movie entirely. It's not the one where he fights with the Sheriff of Nottingham, and he's the Prince of Thieves. That's Robin Hood. Okay, very different movies. This is the one where he builds a baseball field in the corn. If you build it, he will come. You know this?
I know that line. I use that line a lot.
All right. Well, listen, folks, this is a different episode for us. This is a research-intensive episode. We hope that you got something out of this. We're looking to educate folks on fractional, bring folks into fractional investing as a different piece of their portfolio, and also provide some form of, backup to what we're seeing in that space. We hope you enjoyed it, and, we'll be doing it again next week and every week going forward.